He was humiliated and treated like an outsider based solely on his appearance. No one had a clue who he really was. When the truth came out, their world turned upside down, and his next move left them in shock. My decision will surprise even those who have seen it all. But let's start from the beginning. Marcus King stepped out of his car slowly, inhaling the crisp morning air. The towering glass building of the fitness club reflected the sun's rays, gleaming as a symbol of prestige and success. To an average passerby, the club appeared to be a place of health, respect, and professionalism. But Marcus knew that behind the shiny facade often lurked hidden corners of bias and inequality. Pulling up the hood of his gray athletic sweatshirt, he approached the entrance. As he stepped through the revolving door, he immediately felt the staff's gazes piercing him like spotlights, analyzing every inch of his appearance. Someone at the front desk scoffed, and a muffled chuckle sounded behind him. Marcus heard it all but didn't react. He was used to it. "How can I help you?" came a cold voice. Behind the reception desk stood a young woman with a flawless hairstyle, perfectly painted lips, and an expression that instantly made it clear he didn't belong here. Her eyes scanned his attire, unbranded sneakers, a simple t-shirt, and an obviously non-luxury tracksuit. She didn't even try to hide the disdain in her voice. "I'd like to learn more about membership options. Maybe try a trial session," Marcus said, keeping his voice calm and confident. The receptionist slowly glanced at her computer screen, pressing a few keys with exaggerated laziness. "Our packages are quite expensive. The basic level might suit you," she said without looking at him. Marcus took a deep breath, suppressing his irritation. He knew the prices well. After all, he had approved the new rates just weeks ago. But in this moment, he wasn't the CEO of the fitness chain. He was just another customer deemed unworthy. A man approached, a tall, muscular figure with a smug grin and biceps stretching his tight tank top. This was Danny, the club's head trainer, and from the first glance, Marcus could tell he was being sized up and dismissed. "So bro, you think you're up for it?" Danny said lazily, folding his arms across his chest. "I think you should start with some light cardio. Our program isn't for everyone." Marcus felt the anger rising inside him. Was he still dealing with this, even in the company he now led? He recalled his father's words about how the world would treat him, with suspicion, doubt, and disdain. But his father also taught him to never lose his dignity. "I'll manage," Marcus replied, locking eyes with the trainer. Danny smirked and turned to the receptionist. "Sign him up for the beginner's level," he said. "Let's see if he lasts a week." The receptionist smiled smugly and handed Marcus a form to fill out, her slow movements making it clear she was doing him a favor. As Marcus completed the form, he noticed other clients discreetly glancing at him. Some turned away, while others watched with open disapproval. This place exuded exclusivity, but only for certain people. Handing the form back, Marcus looked at the trainer and asked, "When do we start?" Danny chuckled and nodded indifferently. "Right now, but don't expect me to waste my time if you can't keep up." Marcus smiled slightly. He already knew this wouldn't just be a workout. It would be his first step in dismantling a system of bias. Marcus stood in the center of the spacious gym, brightly lit by overhead lights and lined with mirrors. The air was thick with the scent of sweat, expensive cologne, and the rubber of the gym equipment. Around him, clients dressed in stylish athletic wear chattered animatedly about the latest fitness trends. He could feel their stares, evaluating, cold, condescending. To them, he was an outsider, someone who didn't belong in their perfect world. "All right, let's start with a warm-up," Danny said lazily, rolling up the sleeves of his tight-fitting t-shirt. His expression radiated skepticism, and he made no effort to conceal his disdain. Ignoring the trainer's tone, Marcus began his warm-up. He could feel Danny's eyes on him, waiting for the smallest mistake. Every move was accompanied by snide remarks. Do you even know what you're doing? Danny smirked. Look, just follow my lead and don't overthink it. Marcus didn't respond, performing each exercise with precision and confidence. His effortless movements made Danny's eye twitch with irritation, but the trainer wasn't ready to back down. Let's add some weight and see how you handle it, Danny said, loading extra plates onto the barbell. With a sarcastic grin, he added, Don't worry if you can't lift it. No one here will judge too much. Marcus approached the equipment, took a deep breath, and lifted the barbell with ease. His muscles strained under the weight, but his face remained calm and focused. After completing the set, he placed the weight down gently and looked at Danny, who shifted uncomfortably. Not bad, Danny muttered, then quickly added, but strength isn't everything. Coordination, endurance, that's where the real challenge lies. Danny then transitioned to endurance training, pushing Marcus through endless laps on the treadmill, push-ups, planks, and jumps. Each time, he watched with a smirk, waiting for Marcus to collapse. Feeling tired? Danny asked smugly as Marcus finished yet another grueling set. Don't worry, not everyone is cut out for this. Marcus wiped the sweat from his forehead, his breathing steady and controlled. He looked at the trainer with unwavering confidence. I'm just getting warmed up, he replied calmly. At that moment, a few other trainers observing from the sidelines exchanged whispers, clearly impressed, though they tried to hide it. Danny, however, refused to admit defeat. Listen, bro, you're doing fine, but fitness is a lifestyle, you know? Danny said, flashing a fake smile. It's about attitude, style. Are you sure this place is right for you? Our clientele expects a certain standard. Marcus held back a smile, fully aware of the trainer's attempt to push him out using social barriers, but he wasn't going anywhere. I think I'll stick around, Marcus said, holding Danny's gaze firmly. Danny shrugged and turned toward the water station, tossing over his shoulder. Your call, but trust me, you won't last. Marcus glanced at his reflection in the mirror, calm, confident, and determined. He knew this wasn't over yet. The real challenge lay ahead, confronting a culture of bias built not just on words, but on deep-seated attitudes and actions. But he was ready. The next morning, the fitness center was running as usual. Clients in expensive athletic wear moved leisurely from one machine to another, chatting casually about the latest trends. The receptionists at the front desk were engaged in lively conversation about which regulars would stay the longest today. Danny, feeling triumphant after yesterday's victory over Marcus, grinned as he recounted the story to his colleagues. Guys, you should have seen the guy I trained yesterday. He looked like he walked in from the street. No brand name gear, no clue what he was doing. I'm telling you, he won't be back. Danny chuckled smugly, shaking his head. Just as the words left his mouth, the gym's front doors swung open. Marcus walked in with confidence, but this time he wasn't in his casual workout attire. He was dressed in a perfectly tailored suit, exuding an air of authority and control. His stride was purposeful as he headed straight to the reception desk. The receptionist, recognizing him, tensed up, sensing that something was different this time. Good morning, Marcus said, his voice carrying through the gym and drawing the attention of both staff and clients. Danny turned around, his smirk faltering as he saw Marcus in a completely new light. Confusion flickered across his face. Oh, you're back? Danny said with a forced grin, approaching him. Thought you'd given up. Marcus didn't respond right away. He calmly pulled back his sleeve to check his expensive watch, then looked up with a slight smile. Actually, I'm here for a different reason today. Silence fell over the gym. The atmosphere shifted in an instant. Clients whispered amongst themselves and staff members exchanged anxious glances, sensing the rising tension. Allow me to introduce myself, Marcus continued, his eyes scanning the room. My name is Marcus King. I'm the new CEO of Titan Fitness, The receptionist's face turned pale, and the pen she had been twirling in her fingers slipped and clattered onto the desk. Danny froze, his face flushing red as realization dawned on him. His jaw tightened, and he swallowed hard. What? Is this some kind of joke? He stammered, forcing a nervous laugh. Marcus stepped closer, his expression unwavering and piercing. Yesterday was an opportunity for me to experience firsthand how this club treats its clients, Marcus said, his voice now laced with authority. And to be honest, he added, his tone turning icy, I am deeply disappointed. He turned his gaze to the receptionist. Rudeness, prejudice, and a complete lack of respect. Is this the standard you uphold here? The woman opened her mouth to respond, but no words came out. Marcus shifted his attention back to Danny. As head trainer, you should be setting an example. Instead, you belittle people, judge them by their appearance, and decide who fits in here based on your own biases. Marcus's voice was steady, but filled with authority. Tell me, who's really not fit for this place? Danny took a step back, his earlier arrogance dissolving into nervous uncertainty. You get it, right? He muttered, desperately searching for an excuse. Marcus cut him off. I've seen this too many times in my life, but I didn't expect it in my own company. It's unacceptable, and I plan to fix it. Turning to the other staff members who were listening intently, Marcus continued. Starting today, Titan Fitness will have a new approach. Respect, professionalism, and inclusivity. And if anyone feels they can't meet those standards, the doors of this club are always open for you to leave. Danny stood there, head lowered, realizing his career was now on the line. Marcus took a step back and, with a composed smile, added, Now, let's get to work. We have a meeting in 30 minutes to discuss the new standards. I expect you all to be there. He turned and walked toward his office, leaving behind a heavy silence. Clients and staff exchanged stunned looks, realizing they had just witnessed the beginning of a major shift, one that would redefine the club forever. Meanwhile, Danny, who had once thought himself untouchable, stood there realizing that his days of arrogance and discrimination were over. 30 minutes later, all the employees gathered in the gym's conference room. The atmosphere was tense, like the calm before a storm. Danny sat in the front row, nervously tapping his fingers on the table, occasionally glancing around with an uneasy expression. The receptionist, who had treated Marcus with such disdain the day before, sat in the corner, avoiding eye contact. When Marcus entered the room, all eyes turned to him. He was no longer just some guy in an old hoodie. Now he was the man in charge, radiating authority and determination. All right, Marcus began, scanning the room with a serious expression. I'm not here to lecture you today. I'm here to show you how this club should be run. He pressed a button on the projector, and the screen lit up with footage from hidden cameras that had been placed in the gym the previous day. The video began playing, showing Marcus walking into the club and being met with cold indifference. The receptionist's dismissive attitude, Danny's condescending smirks, and the judgmental glances from the staff, all of it played out before their eyes in painfully clear detail. A heavy silence fell over the room. Some staff members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, while others whispered nervously to each other. Danny's face turned pale as he watched himself on the screen, seeing every arrogant gesture, every patronizing remark laid bare. Marcus turned off the projector and faced the room. Yesterday, I walked in here not as your CEO, but as a regular client, he said, his voice calm but firm. And what I experienced was prejudice. You judged me by my appearance, by my clothes, and by the color of my skin. You didn't give me a chance to feel welcome in this club. He paused, letting his words sink in. Titan Fitness is more than just a brand. It's supposed to be a place where everyone feels valued. If anyone here doesn't believe in that, then this isn't the place for you. Danny stood up abruptly, trying to defend himself. "Look, I was just doing my job. We have certain standards. We have to maintain the club's image." His voice wavered as he struggled to maintain his composure. Marcus fixed him with a piercing stare. "Standards?" he repeated, his tone icy. "Respect is a standard. Professionalism is a standard. Discrimination? That's something that has no place here." Marcus placed a folder on the table in front of Danny. "You have two options," he continued. "You can take our new inclusivity training and prove that you can change, or you can leave, right now." The room was so silent that even the sound of Danny's nervous breathing could be heard. His hands trembled as he stared at the papers, then, after a long pause, he nodded reluctantly. "All right, I'll give it a shot," he muttered, barely concealing his frustration. Marcus nodded approvingly. "Good. Because change starts now." He turned his attention to the rest of the staff. "Over the next few weeks, we'll be implementing new policies. Every single employee will undergo training on how to treat clients with respect, regardless of their appearance, background, or financial status. I won't tolerate another incident like yesterday." Some employees nodded in agreement, while others exhaled in relief, realizing that these changes were necessary. A few days later, the gym began to transform. Marcus personally oversaw the first inclusivity training sessions, emphasizing the importance of treating every customer with respect and dignity. The video of the incident quickly went viral, earning Titan Fitness praise for taking a bold stand against discrimination. Even Danny, after completing his training, started to understand that true strength in a trainer wasn't about arrogance. It was about inspiring and supporting others. One day, Marcus walked into the gym again, dressed in his everyday workout clothes. This time, Danny approached him with a genuine expression, free of his usual smugness. "Ready for a workout?" Danny asked, his tone sincere. Marcus smiled. "Ready. But just so you know, this time I actually know what I'm doing." As they began their session, Marcus realized that his victory wasn't just in proving himself, it was in changing the culture of the gym and the people within it. This was his contribution to making the world a little fairer, one step at a time.